Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer 55551, and I am back with a My 2 Cent video for this week, for the week of July 31st to August 6th, where I take a look at a couple of stories that caught my attention and give you my thoughts and my opinion, though. And we got 4 stories to cover this week, including supposedly Sony's response to the PS5 stock issue. Tongue twister right there. And supposedly they're trying to address that, to Nintendo releasing their financial report, which is somewhat mixed, at least depending on how you want to look at it, though. Activision Blizzard we're going to be talking about, including a statement from Sony in regards about the issue of Call of Duty in general, and Xenoblade Chronicles 3. We have so far the sales so far where it stands, at least in Japan and even on the Nintendo eShop, though. And if you're interested in where I got the source of these informations, links will be in the description down below on this video, assuming you're watching this on YouTube. But before we get started, I like to do what I like to call the quick My 2 Cents, stories that kind of caught my attention, but I'm not going to go into a huge amount of details. The first one is basically a controversial game on the Nintendo Switch, or supposedly controversial. It's basically a rhythm massage game. May have been canned on the Nintendo Switch. This has to do with, it's sort of like an anime title and all that, and it has to do with ranging from some of the ages of the characters to supposedly them getting inspiration for an incident that happened in sort of like in Japan or something like that. Supposedly, though, it's available on Steam. There have made some changes to it, though. No word if it will be coming to the Nintendo Switch or not, though. I mean, we've seen controversial games here and there. I rarely see them get pulled out of the eShop, at least as far as I'm aware of, but this one may have been a bridge too far for Nintendo or something, but we'll have to wait and see if the changes that were found on the Steam version make their way over to the Nintendo Switch or not. We also learned that Night Dive, the studio that has done several different ports like the Turok games, have announced that they have a few more FPS remasters in the work. That certainly is nice. I'm curious to see what other FPS games that they could be remastering and working on, to be exact. So I'm certainly looking forward to that, though. We learned that supposedly Bethesda's Roundhouse Studio is working on an unannounced title for the Xbox. No word on what that title might be. Supposedly right now they're helping Aulx Studio with Redfall, which is supposed to be, I think, scheduled for next year, to be exact. So we'll find out what they might be working on. Maybe it's something as big as, say, what Bethesda's doing with Starfield, or it could be something small. So we'll have to wait and see. We've also learned that supposedly a rating was found in Germany for the Xbox 360 action RPG title, Risen, though. The game has seen 3 entries in it, Risen 2 and Risen 3, though. Assuming this is true, this will be the first time the series will make its way to the Nintendo Switch, though. That said, there have been those who've complained about how the Xbox 360 version wasn't done very well or everything like that. It ran poorly, though. So assuming this is true, hopefully they'll address those issues and the game will run properly on the Nintendo Switch, but we'll have to wait and see, to be exact. Along with that, though, we learned that AEW Fight Forever, the new wrestling game from the AEW, though, is planning to not only come to other consoles, but also to the Nintendo Switch, though. Supposedly, they'll be showing up some gameplay footage, supposedly during THQ's Nordics presentation, though. Though I'm not a big wrestling fan, hopefully this game comes out on the Switch better than what we saw with WWE 2K18 and the debacle from that turnout on the Nintendo Switch. So we'll have to wait and see, though. We also learned that Aulx Reborn basically will be coming to the Nintendo Switch along with on the PlayStation and the PC, though. This game was rumored and spotted on the PlayStation Store, and now it's been officially confirmed by Square Enix and all, so certainly nice to see this one coming to the Nintendo Switch as well. We also learned that supposedly Tencent is looking to get into a bigger stake into Ubisoft, and this has to do with maybe the fact that Ubisoft has been having some trouble lately, though. It will be really interesting if that happens, considering the fact that Ubisoft has fought off, hostile takeovers and all that stuff. It's unclear they'll be able to do that this time with Tencent, or if they are able to pull it off or anything like that. We also learned that supposedly the PC version of Spider-Man will now basically support the Steam Deck, though. So for those who have a Steam Deck or anything like that, or those who enjoy, gaming on PC and so forth, you'll now be able to play the remastered Spider-Man game on your Steam Deck. Now, whether or not there may be, I don't know what kind of options are going to be available or not. Again, I'm not a PC gamer, nor do I have the Steam Deck or anything like that. But for those who have it, though, I'm sure this is certainly good news, to be exact. We also learned that EA's CEO has come out saying how single-player games are really, really important to them, though. And some people speculate this has had to do with the backlash or the stupid comment that they wrote on Twitter about single-player games, which is kind of interesting considering that Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, a single-player game, sold and performed better than Anthem, their online, their live service multiplayer game, to be exact. So yeah, this might be more like damage control from EA or anything like that. We also learned that supposedly IGN has done a video on the breakdown of basically the showcase demo they had with Starfield, though. It's an interesting look at basically when they went from the game creation engine to game creation engine 2, though. I mean, the game looks impressive, though, and it does have potential, but for what they show, it's clear that there are some issues they need to iron out. I'm hoping they can iron out before the release of the game, though. I mean, the game certainly has potential, but Bethesda, after what we saw with Fallout 76, still a little iffy about Starfield, though. But I will give them the benefit of the doubt for the time being. We also learned that supposedly footage of the first Stalker game, Stalker Shadows of Chernobyl, appears to have apparently leaked. Supposedly this was a game that was released on PC but never made its way to the consoles, though. There's no word if this will make its way to the Xbox Series S and X or Game Pass in general. Personally, I think it would be nice if they did a remaster or a remake of the first game to have people catch up who may have not played it when it was originally released on the PC, considering we know that Stalker 2 is coming to Xbox Series S and X, and it's also going to be available day one on Game Pass. So I think it would be a good opportunity to bring this one over, do a remake or a remaster of the first one, if done right, to be exact. We also learned that Indie Creates has announced a new sort of a mixture of a Castlevania and a Mega Man type game called Project Grim Guardians, or Demon Purge to be exact, though. So far the game is in development at this time. It's going to be coming to multiple platforms, including the Nintendo Switch. One thing to point out is the two protagonists, though, in the game are basically the female characters that were also some of the main characters from their, well, let's just say fan service on-rail shooter, Galgun. And if you don't know what Galgun is, look it up on YouTube and you can see for yourself how this game has certainly gotten people's attention in a certain degree, to be exact. We also learned that basically HBO Max and Discovery Plus will be combining into one, and this will be starting next year. No word on what it will be called or anything like that, and it'll be very interesting to see how this plays out and how if this one will be successful or not. But so far, HBO Max seems to be doing very well. Discovery Plus so far seems to be doing well. So who knows? Maybe this one actually will pan out. And we also learned that, unfortunately, Nikki Nicholas, if I'm saying her name correctly, who played Uhura in the original Star Trek series, passed away at the age of 89. I believe that is correct, though. Really unfortunate and very sad. I mean, she certainly was probably one of the pioneers of, in television and all, and not to mention the infamous scene with her and James T. Kirk, played by William Shatner, the first interracial kiss and all that. So very unfortunate that an icon and legend, especially in the Star Trek universe, passed away. So my heart goes out to her and her family, and to fans who are mourning the loss of her, though. And finally, last but not least, we have 2 Disney Plus trailers that were shown off this week. The first one was the official trailer for Andor, though. I am looking forward to this one. This basically is done by the same folks who did Rogue One, which was a good movie and all. So I'm looking forward to that one. Excuse me. And we have a trailer for the release date for She-Hulk, which is August 18, though. I'm still a little mixed on the She-Hulk one. I mean, it might be good or it could end up being bad, so we'll have to wait and see on it though. And I'm still, maybe it's just me, but I'm still getting that Ally McBeal vibe to it. Maybe it's just me, maybe it's or something like that, but that's what I seem to be getting from every time I see any clips or a trailer for She-Hulk though. Okay, with the quick My 2 cent part now done, we'll get started with our first story, and this one has to do with Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Now, last week, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 came out for everybody else, out there to try on their Nintendo Switch and all. This was definitely one of the titles I was looking forward to getting this year, to be exact though. I definitely have enjoyed the Xenoblade Chronicles series, whether it was the first one, which is now the definitive edition on Switch, to the second one, even though that some are a little diverse or think it's controversial depending on how you want to look at it though. And finally, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, a game that I did not expect Nintendo was going to release earlier than expected. A lot of people expected September, October. They pushed it up to July. They pushed it up to July, making it was kind of a bit surprising to be exact. And I will say, based on my time with the game though, I am enjoying it so far. Though, like I said, I'm a fan of the series though. But as far as how's the doing wise in terms of sales, it seems to be, at least depending on how you look at it though, off to maybe a good start, depending on if you're looking at it from the physical or the digital side. According to several articles from Nintendo Life, it reads that, quote, and this one has to do with the eShop, it's basically the top seller so far. According to the article, it reads that, quote, it's launch week for Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and although there are a lot of demands for the physical version of the game, it seems that plenty of people are still picking up the digital version of the title. For some, these purchases may have been due to the delay these associated with the fancy collector's version, which, side note, I think Nintendo did a pardon my language, a piss poor job in regards of the collector's edition of Xenoblade Chronicles 3. According to the eShop charts in the US, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is now out in front of Minecraft. Every other game like Nintendo Switch Sports and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, two titles that just received DLC updates, Digimon Survival has snuck into 6th place with Live Alive in 9th place at the time of this writing. It's the same situation in locations like the UK. Xenoblade is out in front ahead of games like Among Us, FIFA 22, and Mario Kart. In Japan, the game's also in the top spot. To add to this, it's charting on websites like Amazon as well. And according to the Japanese sales charts though, they show that basically Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is at the top with 12,728 copies sold though. Some are comparing that to basically where that's a little bit lower than what we saw with Xenoblade Chronicles 2 or with the definitive editions, but some saying higher than Xenoblade Chronicles 2. With Digimon Survivor, the Nintendo Switch version, in 2nd place though. Live Alive is at 5th place though, and Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak is at 4th, with Nintendo Switch Sports at number 3 though. And in terms of which system is selling well, Switch OLED continues to sell very well, with the PS5 in 2nd place, which is kind of interesting because we've seen the PS5 kind of struggle in Japan a little bit. But in either case, this certainly isn't a bad start for Xenoblade Chronicles 3 though. I mean, obviously we're seeing more and more people are going into the digital side of things, which obviously there will be a point when physical versions won't be around anymore, which is going to be a bit unfortunate for some folks, especially like me though. But obviously we're seeing going straight towards an all digital future, and that has some people concerns, and we've seen that situation happen before though. But in either case, nice to see Xenoblade Chronicles 3 off to a very good start, and also it certainly is nice indeed. One other thing regarding Xenoblade Chronicles, particularly with the first game though, is that apparently there seems to be a scene that basically never made it into that game. Now, I don't know if this could be the original Wii game, it could be the definitive edition, but whatever the case, it seems that this scene or at least what they wanted to add was maybe too much for one of the folks working onto the game. Again, in the same article, though, it reads that, quote, from Nintendo Life, it says, as pointed out by executive director, or one of the folks who worked on the game, this was part of Did You Know's games. Shulk's action during one of the game's cutscene alarmed one of the scenario writers who brought in during the game's development, though. The game director and the writer was worried that Shulk's decision to touch the cheek of an unconscious Viola to express his feelings for her might constitute as creepy. As such, the action was changed to the final game, with Shulk instead touching Fiona's hand. This is what they had to say, quote, one issue pointed out by Harad-Hassan, I apologize if I'm not saying the name correctly, that I can clearly remember concerning the girl named Viola, the childhood friend of Shulk. There's a scene where she's fast asleep and you touch her hand. This was intentionally a scene where Shulk touched her cheek to communicate his feelings for her, but Harad-Hassan pointed out that suddenly touching a woman's cheek while she's sleeping could be constructed as being a little bit creepy, though. The article also reads, as far as potentially creepy scenes go, this one is immediately on the tan side, but we can see what Harad-Hassan was going for. Apparently, the decision was made to change Shulk's action in order to retain the innocent and naive nature of the character's love, though. I would say to some degree that might be debatable, to be exact, though. I mean, I can understand why some of it might come off as a little bit creepy, but at the same time, it might not to a certain degree, though. I mean, either way, obviously, they changed the scene with Shulk touching Viola's hand, which is, again, some might argue it's tam, some might think it's not. So it certainly is debatable, but very interesting to learn about this, especially during the development of Xenoblade Chronicles and all. So overall, that certainly is going to be debatable with that scene, to be exact, though. So we'll have to wait how that will. I mean, again, it is definitely debatable. Some people are going to think it's going to be not as bad as they're claiming to be. Others think it might have been the right decision to change it, though. As far as Xenoblade Chronicles 3, though, obviously, like I said, it's off to a good start. That certainly is good news. I am kind of curious to see where this will go in terms of where it will rank on the NPD sales charts. I'm kind of curious where Xenoblade Chronicles will rank. Hopefully it's good, but we'll have to wait and see from when we get the reports from the NPD charts, to be exact. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 2, and this one has to do with Sony's response to Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard, and it involves, believe it or not, with Call of Duty in general. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of my 2 cent video for this week. And for this one, we're going to be taking a look at the saga surrounding Microsoft and Activision Blizzard, or say the deal, of Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard and all. Now, I'm sure most of you are aware, earlier this year, we learned about Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard for $70 billion, and most people are waiting for when this deal fully closes and is completed and all. A lot of folks out there believe the deal will probably go through, even despite the FTC and the chairwoman of FTC clamping down really hard, taking a look at this deal through a microscope. Though, as far as when the deal will probably close, some people are believing August. This August will close. Though others, like from what I've been hearing, like Michael Patrick, believes that the deal will probably close by the end of October. And some others speculate it will probably be sometime around 2023, though. Well, recently, it seems as though during a lot of these companies are being, or shall we say, this deal is also being looked at by in other countries, though, such as Brazil and even New Zealand and so forth, to get their take on the matter, to be exact, though. And during looking at the response to this deal, though, Sony has sort of came up and given their sort of reason why they're somewhat concerned. This mostly has to do with Call of Duty. Excuse me, to be exact though. In an article published by VGC, Video Game Chronicles, it reads that, quote, Sony believes Call of Duty could inspire users to switch to Xbox following Microsoft's proposed acquisition of Activision Blizzard. That's according to the company's official response to questions from the Brazilian regulatory body, corresponded by Reset Area, which, like many regions, is currently studying the proposed deal for approval. Along with other companies such as Ubisoft, Amazon, and Google, Sony's response to several questions about the proposed acquisition has been published in full by the Brazilian government. Sony's response, translated by Video Game Chronicles, mostly outlines the current state of AAA game development for the Brazilian regulators. However, large portions highlight the importance of PlayStation's firm put in Call of Duty, a franchise which it claims influences users' consoles' choice, though. In its questionnaire answer, Sony called Call of Duty an essential game, a blockbuster AAA title that has no rivals, at least at this time, though. According to a 2019 study, the importance of Call of Duty to entertainment in general is insurmountable, the company said. The brand was the only video game IP to break into the top 10 of all entertainment brands among fans, joining powerhouses such as Star Wars, Game of Thrones, Harry Potter, and Lord of the Rings. Call of Duty is so popular that it influenced users' choice of consoles, and its community of loyal users is enriched enough that even if a competitor has the budget to develop a similar product, it will not be able to rival it. Whether that's true or not, that certainly is open for debate, to be exact though. Sony went on to explain how the huge resources Activision put behind Call of Duty are the core reasons why it believes the FPS series is unlikely to be rivaled by a competitor. Each annual Call of Duty release takes around 3 to 5 years to develop. As Activision released one Call of Duty game per year, this equals to an annual investment of hundreds of millions of dollars, it explains. Approximately 1,200 people work on each version, and another 1,500 are involved in publishing and distribution. Thus, Call of Duty alone has more developers than most game companies employ across its entire development portfolio, including AAA studios. Though, side note, that's there's again somewhat debatable. There are folks who don't like the idea that Activision shutter studios just to develop Call of Duty. We saw how people were concerned about Toys for Bots after the claim is Crash 4 did not sell very well. Now they're just focusing on Call of Duty, to be exact. So that certainly is somewhat debatable, to be exact, though. Anyway, continuing on. Also, given its plan to recruit 2,000 additional developers by 2021, Activision probably expected Call of Duty to become even more successful in the future. No other developer can devote the same level of resources and expertise in game development. Even if they could do that, Call of Duty is overly entrenched so that no rival, no matter how relevant they are, can catch up. Sony went on to note that Call of Duty has been the best-selling game for almost every year in the past decade, and for its genre, it's overwhelmingly the best-selling game. It is synonymous with first-person shooter games and essentially defies that category. This is also demonstrated by players' engagement on social media. Call of Duty has over 24 million followers on Facebook versus 7 million for Battlefield, and over 12 million followers on Instagram versus 2 million for Battlefield. In addition, to say the least, players will unlikely to switch to alternative games as they would lose that familiarity, those skills, and even the friends they made playing the Call of Duty game. Even in weaker years like 2021, Call of Duty still manages to outperform most other games by a considerable margin. Call of Duty Vanguard 2021, for example, was widely regarded as the weakest than the previous year's titles, but it was still one of the best-selling games of 2021. In other words, even in a bad year, players remain loyal to the brand and continue to buy the game, though. Now, since, published back in January, Microsoft said that they will honor existing contracts and don't want to take Call of Duty away from other players. Now, it's going to be very interesting to see how this truly does play out. And there are several ways you can look at this. some could say that Sony is very concerned that they're not going to have that moneymaker that the Call of Duty was when they signed a deal, get all this stuff exclusive on PlayStation, or get this first on PlayStation, though, to be exact. So they're kind of concerned about what happens. Now, as far as assuming the deal goes through, and which will happen, though, it's going to be up to Microsoft to decide what approach they want to take, though. I mean, it is possible that there may be some deal where, in order for Microsoft to buy Activision Blizzard, they have to make sure that Call of Duty still remains multi-platform, which that's a possibility. That could be something they iron out, maybe with the FTC and all. Again, I'm not really into that. I'm not a legal expert, so I don't 100% know. But, I mean, even if they do that, even if they make it multi-platform like what we've seen with Minecraft or anything like that, I would not be surprised if Microsoft does something along the lines of play this new update for Call of Duty or this new content for Call of Duty first on Xbox and Game Pass before it reaches the other consoles. So it wouldn't surprise me if we see something like that truly emerges. I wouldn't be shocked, indeed, to be exact. So do I think Sony does have some legitimate concerns? To some degree, I do. I think this means that it may have to put pressure on them and may have to sort of rethink some of their strategies going forward, though. I think, it's the old saying, don't put all your eggs into one basket. It's the response to me feels like Sony put all their eggs with just having Call of Duty as the big reason to pick up a PlayStation and all that stuff. And they've put really a lot of their shooters on the back burner, like games like SOCOM, Navy SEALs, Resistance, Killzone, and all. Maybe this could force them to maybe rethink their strategy and all. So we'll have to see how this is going to play out. So overall, do I think this will have an impact on Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard? I'm not really sure. I still think the deal will probably go through, but we could see a scenario where Microsoft may have to let Call of Duty continue being that multi-platform release. And if that's the case, my guess is that the most likelihood is that we're probably going to see something along the line, get this exclusive Call of Duty content or get it first on, Xbox or Game Pass in general. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 3, and this one has to do with Nintendo's financial report. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 3 of my 2 cent video for this week. And for this one, we are going to be taking a look at Nintendo's financial report. They just recently released those numbers out. And judging by what we're seeing so far, it looks like the numbers are somewhat mixed. There are certainly some positives out of it, but there certainly is some negatives, though. In terms of what Nintendo has released so far, the Nintendo Switch as of June 30th, 2022 has sold over 111.8 million units sold. It has overtaken the Nintendo 3DS. It certainly has overtaken the Wii U, that's for certain, though. It certainly has overtaken pretty much the original Wii, though, but whereas yet to take over is the original Game Boy, which has 118.69 million units sold, and the Nintendo DS, which has 154.02 million units sold. So no doubt that the system is very successful. It's yet to overcome those systems yet. Some people think it might overtake the PS2, but that's about 200 million units sold worldwide, though. And we're in kind of a different situation in the world than when it was when the original PlayStation PS2 came out. But who knows? We could be surprised at some point or anything like that. Anyway, in terms of the top selling games, though, it points out this is what the top 10 they have. They have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe with 46.82 million units sold. Animal Crossing New Horizon at 39.38 million units sold. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate at 28.82 million units sold. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild at 27.14 million units sold. Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield, that's both of them combined together, at 24.50 million units sold. Super Mario Odyssey at 23.93 million units sold. We have Super Mario Party at 18.6 million units sold. Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, both games in one, at 14.79 million units sold. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, both games combined together, at 14.66 million units sold. And Ring Fit Adventure at 14.54 million units sold, though. In terms of basically, where is it? Did I miss it or something? In terms of other games that have sold, they have reported that Nintendo Switch Sports has sold basically at 4.84 million units sold. Mario Striker Battle League has sold 1.91 million units sold. Kirby and the Forgotten Land has sold 1.88 million units sold. Some are considering like the best Kirby game to sell that very well, though. And Mario Kart 8 Deluxe basically at 1.48 million. Despite that, though, while that certainly is good, it basically says that not all of it is sunshine and rainbows, to be exact. According to an article from Nintendo Life, it reads, quote, as with last quarter, there's been a drop in year-on-year sale, citing the ongoing semiconductor shortage and comparing this quarter to major releases of the same quarter last year and Animal Crossing New Horizons huge sales back then. Nintendo reported a drop of 22% in the latest quarter. Despite this, the company states that demand for the console is stable in all regions and the outlook is looking a bit better in terms of semiconductors. Nintendo believes the situation will gradually improve from late summer to early autumn, which should boost the company's productivity nicely, though. So, do I think some of it is the semiconductor that may have had an impact on this? Some of it is that, but I also think some of it is we're not in 2020 or 2021 where we were still in like the whole COVID situation and people had to stay indoors and people had to figure out what to do, and also we're not sort of in that kind of position, despite that what we're seeing here is where COVID isn't going away, but it's not on the level we've seen it in 2020 or 2021. Same thing what we're seeing right now with the monkeypox, though. Despite being declared an emergency and all, it hasn't reached to the point of what COVID was in 2020 and 2021. So we're not seeing a situation where people are staying indoors, people are certainly going out. So yeah, it's not on the same level as 2020 or 2021. Still, the Switch is still selling very well from Nintendo, which certainly is nice, though. But I also think it kind of puts them in a very tough spot because there's going to be a point where Nintendo is going to have to there's going to be a point where a Switch 2 or a Switch Pro or something like that is going to have to eventually happen. I mean, it's possible they could find a way to extend the Switch's life cycle, but I think many people feel that we're reaching a point where a update to the Switch or a new console is going to have to happen from Nintendo. I'm not sure about a new console, about that one. I mean, yes, Nintendo could go a completely different direction from the Switch, but I just think it would be a hard sell for Nintendo to go back to having just a console and a handheld. I just don't think that's going to pan out very well. Again, I'm not a business expert or anything like that, but I'm just not sure that idea is going to work. I think more than likely, and I still stand behind this, I may have said this before, I think Nintendo will still stick with the Switch concept, though, but I can see a more powerful Switch happening, though. I mean, we know that Nintendo and NVIDIA supposedly have a 2-decade partnership, though, so it's possible we could see a more powerful Switch, maybe not on the level of the PS5 or Xbox Series X or S. Maybe S, but I think that's a bit of a stretch, though, but I could definitely see a more powerful Switch happening, though. I'm leaning more towards the most likelihood that basically will be kind of similar to what we went from like the 3DS to the new 3DS. Certainly more powerful, certainly better, but don't expect it to be, blow you out of the water or anything like that. That's where I'm leaning towards, though. I mean, I could be wrong. Nintendo could pull a rabbit out of its hat and surprise us, but that's where I think we're going to be heading if Nintendo announces, the next Switch, whether it's Switch Pro or Switch 2. And in regards of if a new Switch will happen or anything like that, at least according to the Nikki, it sounds like that we're not going to see one this year, or at least this fiscal year. And basically, in an article from Nintendo Life, it reads that, quote, there are still rumors floating around that Nintendo could potentially be gearing up for some sort of Switch hardware reveal. To mark the 5th anniversary of the Switch's most recent, the company announced that a Splatoon-themed Switch OLED. It wasn't exactly what everyone was hoping for. If you're still hoping for new hardware before the end of the current fiscal year, you might be out of luck. According to the latest Nikki leak report, there won't be any new Nintendo hardware for this period. This information comes courtesy of Bloomberg reporter Takahashi. Apologize if I'm not saying the name correctly, though. But it's unclear if this is Nikki's own reporting or coming directly from Nintendo's president Fukushima, who Nikki interviewed, though. If there's any new hardware reveal on the horizon, aren't any new hardware reveal on the horizon. This wouldn't be a surprise given the ongoing supply issue. Just yesterday, Nintendo reported a drop in Switch sales in first quarter due to semiconductor shortage, limiting console production. There's also been some conversation about a possible price increase. Fortunately, Nintendo has no plans to raise the cost of the Switch, and industry-wide right now, most tech companies are facing supply shortage, though. So, yeah, I mean, even if Nintendo is going to announce a new Switch, though, you really want to do that, especially with the semiconductor situation going on at this time, despite a recent bill being passed here in the U.S., passed in the U.S. Senate to basically develop some semiconductors here, in the U.S. and all. But even so, I mean, I'm not sure right now you want to announce a new hardware, especially given how hard it is right now find a PS5 and even an Xbox Series X as well. As you have a better shot, that seems to be a bit more easier to find, though. Now, if the semiconductor situation improves and it is under control, though, then perhaps maybe Nintendo would like to announce a successor to a Switch or a Switch 2 or a Switch Pro. But for right now, I don't think that would be a good idea, even if they did want to announce a new Switch, given where it is right now with the whole semiconductor. So overall, mixed results in their financial report. There's some good things and there's certainly some bad things. So we'll be interested to see where Xenoblade Chronicles 3 fits in terms of Nintendo's financial reports when the next one comes, though. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll get to part 4, and this one has to do with Sony addressing the stock issue and all. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with our 4th and final part of our My Two Cent video, and for this one, we're going to be taking a look at the situation regarding the PS5 stock issue. Now, the PS5, since its launch in 2020, has been, pretty hard for people to find, though, and a lot of it has been, there have been several factors. Some of it has been the way Sony handled the pre-order situation, though. But other factors that have been beyond Sony control has been obviously COVID-19 certainly had played a role in some of it, though, along with the supply chain issue. So there were a lot of factors that kind of has not worked in Sony's favor compared to Microsoft, where while the Xbox Series X is certainly hard to find, although we're seeing getting a little bit better, though, the Series S, on the other hand, is much easier to find than, say, what the Series X or the PS5 or even the PS5 digital. So, I mean, it's sort of, this generation has been kind of rough for Sony to some degree, though. Not to the level as, the PlayStation brand's done or anything like that. No, the PS5 is still doing well, just not at the level Sony had pretty much hoped for though. Well, recently it seems as though that Sony is looking at ways to try to address the stock issue or try to address the user engagement issue. Several articles, including this one is from PlayStation Lifestyle. It reads that, quote, Sony has told investors that PlayStation user engagement is lower than expected at present thanks to, in part, of the PS5 stock issue. The company had hoped that the revamped PlayStation Plus would increase the amount of time people spent playing games on their PS4 and PS5, but with the last-gen consoles on its way out and the current-gen console still hard to find, the investment has yet to bear fruit, though. The good news is that Sony is focusing all its effort on increasing the PS5 stock worldwide, and one of the ways it plans to address the lower than expected user engagement is by increasing supply, specifically around the time blockbuster video games are set to release. God of War Ragnarok, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, and Hogwarts Legacies are just some of the games yet to release in 2022. Interestingly, the revamped PlayStation Plus did end up increasing the number of subscribers by 1 million in the last quarter, but gameplay time decreased by 15% year on year. That said, Sony believes that last year or two saw an unusual high number of people playing games because of the worldwide lockdown stemming from COVID-19. Now that people are back to work physically and in schools, they aren't finding enough time to play games. We believe the primary reason for this is that the growth of the overall game market has recently decelerated as opportunities have increased for users to go outside due to the reduction in COVID-19 infection in key markets, Sony said in its recent financial presentation. Taking this situation into account, we intend to take action by increasing users' engagement in the second half of the fiscal year, during which major titles, including first-party software, are scheduled to be released, primarily by increasing the supply of PS5 hardware and promoting the new PlayStation Plus service, though. So, will this strategy work for Sony? Maybe, maybe not. We'll have to wait and see. The revamped PlayStation Plus, I will say, isn't bad, but I'm not sure about their approach. I mean, compared to what Microsoft is doing with with Game Pass, though, I still think the Game Pass approach is definitely better than what Sony's doing with the PlayStation Plus. Now, it's possible they could be right in terms of some of the financial situations, though, but still, I still prefer the Game Pass approach. Now, that doesn't mean PlayStation Plus is going to fail. Maybe over time it will do better and all that stuff. But for right now, where it is at the moment, despite 1 million users, it hasn't reached the level or the success that Game Pass certainly has gotten. As far as the increasing production of the PS5 and the supplies and that, I'm hoping that is the case, though. I mean, I'm hoping it's easier for folks to get a PS5 when they go into the store rather than take their chances online, where we've seen cases where pre-orders show up and then like bots come in and basically steal those pre-orders to people, putting them on eBay and selling them at like outrageous prices, to be exact, though. So yeah, I do hope it's much easier for folks to finally go into a store to get one. I mean, it took me a whole year to finally get my hands on the PS5. I was able to get one, but near the end of December 2021, where I managed to snag one. It was a bundle, to be exact. It had Spider-Man Miles Morales, Ratchet & Clank, and Ghost of Tsushima in there, but I was still able to get one, to be exact. But I'm hopeful they can address the supply issue when it becomes easier for folks to get a PlayStation 5. As far as the user engagement, though, like I said, I'm not surprised by this, though. When COVID happened, though, people had to stay indoors to do something to keep themselves occupied. But with COVID, sort of not at the level, let's just say not at the level as what it was in 2020 and 2021, though, people are now starting to go out even more, to be exact. So you're not going to get the same kind of engagement that you did back in 2020 and 2021, though. So obviously they have to rethink their approach on this one, to be exact. Maybe this will pay off when Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 and God of War Ragnarok comes out, but we'll have to wait and see. So overall, Obviously, they're not seeing the same kind of engagement like they did in 2020 or 2021. And it's clear, though, that they are doing what they can to address the stock issue. To be exact, though, hopefully it will pay off for the holidays and all. But that doesn't signal that the PlayStation brand is in danger or coming to an end or anything like that. It still managed to sell 21.7 million units since launch, though. So I don't see, like I've said this before many times, I don't think this is the PlayStation brand's in danger. I don't think the PS5 is in danger or anything like that. It's just a lot of things kind of went against it. Some of it on Sony's side, some of it beyond their control, to be exact. And I've said this before and I'll say it again, Microsoft has certainly been more aggressive this time than they were during the Xbox One era. So things are a little bit different than they were during the PS4, Xbox One, and Wii U era. So I think that's something Sony has to kind of take that into consideration as well. But either way, I don't think the PlayStation brand's in danger or anything like that. Okay, this concludes this My 2 Cent video for this week. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and where it stands right now, from the eShops to the Japanese and European charts, though? Do you think this is good? Do you think Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is off to a good start in any way? Do you think it will do well once we hear the NPD charts, though? What do you think about Sony's response in terms of with Call of Duty and Activision, Blizzard, and Microsoft? Do you think they're blowing it way out of proportion, or do you think there's some concerns because of this deal that this could have an impact on where people buy Call of Duty and could have an impact on the PlayStation itself, though? What do you think about? What are your thoughts about Nintendo's financial reports? Do you think these are good numbers? Do you think these are bad numbers? Do you think they're kind of a mixed bag to a certain degree? Do you think this is time for Nintendo to start looking at a Switch 2 or a Switch Pro in any way? And what are your thoughts about the PS5 stock issue? Do you think it's the right thing for Sony to push for more, try to get more systems out there as soon as possible, increase production on it, though? Do you think that will pay off? Do you think it will be easier to find a PS5 this year for the holidays, though? Or do you think we're going to still have some issues, like be lucky to find one, to even try your luck online while dealing with the bots or even on eBay and all? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And if you do like this video, I hope you hit the like button. Excuse me, I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You can do it through PayPal me or Patreon. Links will be in the description of this video. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, wish you all a good day then. Bye.